Dear friends, welcome to this new episode of UFO Encounters in Italy. Well, in the cases we have seen so far, there was always one main character with a name and sometimes a surname as well. The main character of past cases was a person who manifested publicly his sighting. In this case, instead, the two persons who had an encounter with the unbelievable decided to conceal their identities. We just know it was a couple, a husband and a wife, young couple. He was about 30 and she was about 20, 25. And they lived in Emilia Romagna region. The case is the so-called case of Vigarano Mainarda. Vigarano, from the name of the town. It actually happened in Vigarano is a town in the plains of Emilia Romagna, in the province of Ferrara, an area between Bologna and Venice. And that night, the end of September 1986, the couple took the car and was invited at a party, at a dinner party, with some friend of them. They were married since some time and they were actually expecting their first baby. Wife was pregnant about 6 months. And they could have never imagined these would have been a quite different dinner, quite different night than the one they expected. They were about half of their path to the France when suddenly in the countryside they saw an incredible vision. A huge craft here depicted in this drawing. It was about 200 meters long, with two huge these were in the beginning they thought that they were sort of antennas, but actually they were wings, about 300 meter tall wings, something huge, quite bigger than any other human craft known at the time and also now. And they were left completely speechless. Husband and wife looked at each other and they couldn't believe what their eyes were actually seeing. Wife began to scream and she was worried to be in danger for the baby as well. The husband, he was scared, but he was curious as well, because he was conscious that what he was seeing would have been something that would have happened once in his life. He stopped the car and tried to walk right below that huge craft. And so they both managed to see the craft making a strange maneuver, moving and showing finally the side of the craft to them. And the side was full of circular shaped windows, and they were apparently lighted from the inner part of the craft, and they managed to see several humanoid-like creatures. They could see just the silhouettes, not their face, but they had bigger heads than humans and tiny bodies. And these creatures walked around inside their huge spacecraft, and they seemed to walk frantically. They seemed to be worried for something, maybe for the conditions of the spacecraft or for something else. And both husband and wife remained there watching that incredible show. And it took some time before the maneuver ended and they saw the final part of the show. The final part was looking at the rear of the craft and sawing some light like engines or something like that. Engine had a sort of ignition, and the craft started and in 5 seconds disappeared beyond their sight. That was the most incredible show of their life. They couldn't believe their eyes, and they couldn't find at the moment any other witness that could help them making sure that they had not dreamt. They returned to that same place the day after, trying to find some trace, trying to find something, but the object actually never landed, so they couldn't find anything. And they didn't spot anything like that anymore in their whole life. Many years later, the husband became a political man, a local political man. And he has always been interested in UFO sightings. So we know the identity of them. But they preferred for many years keeping this concealed. Wife gave birth to the child without any problem. And they still remember those creatures frantically working on their craft, trying to find a solution for some problem. Who knows? What is curious is that some 4 kilometers away, there is a radar site for Italian Air Force, and apparently absolutely nothing was spotted by the radars that night. That really looks incredible, because if you think 300 meters per 200 meters is something like twice a football pitch flying above our heads. And so somebody told that probably the Air Force was keeping the truth hidden, and the truth is quite different. But of course, this is if there is a secret, is kept very well for common people like us. So, a very brief story, a very brief encounter, but one of those encounters that can change a life forever. Would you like to have one like that? I don't know. But I like being here, telling these stories to you all. Thanks for being with me. I wait for your suggestions, critics, comments here below. And if you want, you can subscribe to attend some other credible and incredible same time UFO encounters in Italy. See you.